Hey guys, this is Bro Kashi here doing a response to my boyfriend Everworld's saddest deaths in Naruto history. I'm gonna be doing top 5, so it's not gonna matter in what particular order. So it's just sad moments in general. Nothing on ranks anything, just my opinion. First number 1 is definitely Jiraiya Sensei. I was fucking sad about this because he's one of my favorite shinobis in the Alliance. Well, I don't want to say Shinobi Alliance, but just in general, he's my favorite shinobi. So seeing him die was not an easy feat for me. It's the fucking saddest thing, man. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, holy shit, he probably pulled this off. I think he destroyed Pain, and he's gonna go into the village, and we're gonna bask in his victory. But fucking no, cutscene, dry arms missing, and what the fuck, 5 more members, and not to mention the 2 that he previously killed before. They're back to life, and it's like, oh, fucking A. So looking at that, I just knew Jaraiya was coming to an end. I'm thinking to myself, fucking run, you son of a bitch, run. What the fuck are you doing? But no, in Jaraiya fashion, he stayed there. He wanted to figure out the secrets to what's going on, and that way he can pass them on to the next person. And I gotta commend him for it. Anyways, cutscene later, a bunch of rods in his back. He's gonna fucking die. And this is really hitting hard because it's like, oh fuck, he's gonna die. So, it was just really sad to see this guy with the last bit of his strength basically writes a message for Naruto to understand or to decipher, and just like that, they put it into this guy. It was sad, man. It was the saddest thing. Like, wow, fucking A. And me, I'm just such a fucking fool sometimes because I'm sitting here, I'm looking like, well, maybe he might pull through. Yeah, I know, crushed throat, several rods in his back later, going underwater, and I'm still thinking, holy shit, he might pull through. Even to this day, I'm still like hoping, like maybe he did survive, maybe he summoned a toad and it took him to Sage Hospital, Sage Emergency ER. Yeah, no, I'm just fucking out of the loop here, but man, that is what I ultimately thought. But that did not come true. It's so sad to say goodbye, but he died. So moving onward, saddest death next to that will have to be the death of the 3rd Hokage. Now this is sad all the way around because he died at an old age. In fact, he was the oldest Hokage in general to ever live, and he went out like a fucking champ. Say what you want about the guy, he went out like a true shinobi, man. I mean, a lot of shinobis went out some pussy ways, but like this guy, even at his age, he went out like a Hokage should. And that was like basically, I guess you could say, saving the village in some sense. And not only that, making things a lot more harder for Orochimaru. Now, I fucking had no attachment towards to the 3rd Hokage. Is like is some kind of guy with a peace pipe behind a desk giving orders. That's all we saw, right? So later on, it's like, wow, there's so much to this guy, and man, he was an awesome dude. And then the next episode is his funeral. Then, man, I don't give a fuck who you are. You gotta be some kind of hard ass if you don't think that fucking 3rd Hokage funeral song doesn't hit home. Man, that shit is sad, man. Like, I'm watching that episode, I'm like, man, fuck. The 3rd Hokage's dead. And, it's just sad, man. It's like I had no attachment towards the guy, but man, you can help but to be in the moment. You see all these other characters that you're fond of that are mourning over his death, and it was just a sad thing all the way around. Moving onward will be the death of Itachi. Now, this guy was the coolest bad guy. Well, so I thought. The coolest bad guy, I thought, at the time. But, ultimately we find out more about the guy. And if you're talking about a guy who can play the cards and that he's dealt, regardless of the fact of whatever you have to do to accomplish a mission, this is a guy you want on your side. He did what he had to do for the greater good of the village. We know the Uchiha clan was, were planning a coup d'etat, and they were going to basically just try to take over the village. And he didn't want this cycle to start or repeat itself, so what better way than to just get rid of his own clan. Yeah, he got rid of his parents, and I still don't see how he was able to kill his mother, because she came across to me as a total sweetheart. I saw nothing wrong with her, but the father, what a fucking dick. I didn't care. I'm like, yeah, I wish I would have saw him kill his father. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't give a fuck about him. He's a fucking dick. Um, but his brother, he just refused to kill his brother, and he's gonna take his secret. He's gonna take this secret to the grave. But even as I watched this fight with Sasuke and Itachi, it's like, man, he defeated himself. People want to Sasuke fanboys. I know you love him, but Itachi gave him the business, even with fading eyes and an illness. This guy basically backed your boy Sasuke to a corner where he couldn't really do anything, just scared shitless, and had no clue what he was gonna do next. But he collapsed and dies in his face, and that was just a sad moment, man. And it is what it is. But moving onward, I gotta go with the third Hokage. The third Hokage, that was just a fucked up scene in general. I mean, here's a guy who was a Hokage for a short time, and who was probably one of my favorite characters ever. And the way he went out was, man, dude, I had fucking man tears going down my eyes. I mean, what the fuck is this salty discharge coming from my fucking eyes, right? So, he basically sacrificed his body along with Naruto's mother. They're like impelled by the Nine Tails claw, and here they are, like, still talking to their baby and wishing a better life for him. And that was a fucking sad scene, man. Like, I can't look at that scene and say, this doesn't affect me in the least bit. I'm so manly. Who fucking does that? That is a fucking sad scene, man. You gotta appreciate that shit. That is a hard thing to fucking watch. Moving onward, I guess we could throw Asuma Sensei in there. I had no real attachment towards him, but I guess they knew, like, ultimately first saw his death coming at some point, because right before his death, we see a bunch of, his storyline and so on and so forth. And even still, like, I couldn't really gravitate towards the guy, but I appreciate the guy, and he was kind of laid back, always smoking a cigarette, but he was kind of cool. The reason why his death was, like, kind of hard to look at, it was like the fact that he died in front of his squad, and looking at their reactions to his death, then you're like, oh man, I'm connected to that emotional thing. I see they're crying, they're mourning, their sensei's dying. It's a fucking sad thing. And before long, you're thinking about, holy shit, I remember when all these squads were like younger, man. These are fucking teenagers now, but when they were younger, and you're just going back like, man, who would have foresaw these things happening? And this is when things are starting to become more real in the Naruto series. And so to see this, characters dying left and right, it really hits home. Like, yeah, this is a real thing. People fucking die, and it's not gonna be characters that are not really known. It's gonna be fucking characters that you know, and it was sad to see. That's like pretty much my whole list. But there's always there's a side death that's not really in the top, but it was like a real debate for me. But I'm gonna put it in there. It was the death of Konan. She was dope, man. I mean, I think she's like today the best. I don't know, like, she has to be one of the top female characters in the Naruto franchise. And the way she went out, it just, you can't help but to feel compassion towards this character. You know their upbringing, you know how they came up, you knew they studied under the tutelage of Jaraiya Sensei, and to see the way she died ultimately against Toby, we all knew, she's gonna die. I mean, come on, she wasn't gonna kill Toby. But, you start to, feel compassion for these characters, especially when they were kids. You saw them as kids, you saw them as teenagers, you basically saw them grow up, and to see her die protecting the only thing she had left was the corpses of her loved ones. And it was like, oh man, words can't really come to mind when I'm looking at this whole thing. It's like, she died protecting them, and not only that, she damn near succeeded in killing Toby. I mean, that was like, the fucker almost died, man. Like, he literally had to use his last ace in the hole to prevent himself from dying, because he basically died. I still give her that W. I think she pretty much won that one. But the part that really got to me is, like, she uses that last paper or whatever the fuck it was, and it goes on to this like hideout of where they were when they were kids, where Jaraiya basically semi-raised them and taught them how to be shinobi. And you see the picture, and or you see her thing you see her paper come to an end, and it's like, holy shit, that's powerful. Anyways, this has been Brokashi doing a I guess response to Neverworld Saddest Deaths in Naruto. Please tell me what you think. Please like, subscribe. Peace.